Business Breakthroughs. I'm your host, Blanca, and today's show is the Law of Business Breakthroughs, hosted by Bimal Shah, CEO of Rajpart Achievers. How are you this morning, Bimal?
Great. Awesome. Thank you for having me here. Fired up.
All right, it's a pleasure. I always say I love to start my week off this way because it's always full and packed of positive business energy. So, what are you teaching us about today?
The beginning. This is one of the most important things that many entrepreneurs don't get it right and they fail because it's so important. If you get the beginning right, most of the other things fall through. And a lot of people, when they start, they want to just start because let's just see how it goes. For example, you have a product or idea in the business and you will say, okay, let's launch in the market and see how they react. Sometimes it may be better to test the product get a feedback from few of your people that ideal customers, ideal prospect, to see if the market is going to buy into your product or not. And that is so crucial. And to get the beginning right, you have to at least also get the ending and know what you want as a result. And there are some key factors that you want to make sure that you get, the beginning right. And many people just say, I'll target anybody and everybody to make money. And that could be the worst mistake you could make. The narrower the niche, the bigger your check. Just a few days ago, I was with a company. They have a health insurance product and say our market is 35 million people, and they were only getting 10 people or 15 people on a monthly basis to sign up. But when we changed the strategy to a database of only 55,000 independent contractors, their numbers jumped to 100, 10 times. So, you need to go narrow in order to grow bigger. You don't need to be wide. For example, Apple, they have captured 70% share of the 7% market. They didn't target the entire market. They just targeted a very specific segment through a very careful strategy, and they decided to capture a major market share of that whole market. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. I mean, what you're really basically saying is that classic law of business breakthrough, which is you have to niche down a little bit. If you have too many niches, um, you become, I guess, also it's more difficult for people to remember what you do if you don't have a niche. And so
Absolutely.
you have to be memorable for something. And you may only get 15 minutes of fame in your entire life. So what do you want to be famous for in that 15
Right.
minutes?
So one of the key five beginnings that most entrepreneurs need to get it right are: one is the ideal customer. Take time to define who your ideal customer is. You don't need everyone, you just need the minimum viable audience, whether it's 20, 200, 2,000, 20,000, whatever that size is. The second is the most important thing: write down and define the dream come true experience for your client. You need to be able to deliver this to your customers. If you can't, then someone else is gonna take your position, take over your product or service, or be your competitor and take over your business. And there's no business that will succeed without a team. So you definitely need to make sure that you have a great team in place. And even if you're not hiring people, you may outsource some work, you may delegate through other resources, you may connect with some independent contractors, you may work with some consultants and experts, and that is also your team. Number four is your marketing and sales. No business can survive without that. And the most important critical aspect: tracking and accountability. You should be able to track everything that you do. That's one piece that many businesses miss, is the tracking and accountability. Don't you think so? That this is one key thing that many owners don't do, and then they ask themselves why things aren't going the way that I want to, and because you're not tracking your numbers. You don't, many times you don't know where the problem is. Once you have clarity on what is the real problem, half of the solution is right there.
Oof. Well, you are literally, you are really opening up our minds. But tracking, I mean, tracking is everything because if people always think of tracking as something negative, it's not something negative, it's something positive. Okay, because if you keep swimming in the ocean and you never know how many meters you're swimming, you
Right.
feel like you're going to drown, and you need to track your meters. You need to track what's happening. You really do.
Absolutely. More than a dozen self-learning tools about tracking and accountability, the team, the dream come true experience, the marketing and sales. They can get started at the scorecard, which is the foundation of any business. It helps them realize that, okay, where are the gaps? So if they want to download the scorecard or get the scorecard, they can get it at the bit.ly scorecard link. I think you have the link. You can post it. Um,
Yes.
yeah. And the three, before you even think about, most businesses, when they start up something, they need to think about their product. What are their product or services, what their pitch is, and what their delivery system is, what their distribution. How am I going to get my product or service in the hands of the consumers? Why would they buy from me? What is the purpose? So at least and in your mind, in a big frame, you want to get these three items down to a T. What is my pitch? You can't start a business without knowing how you're going to sell it. Many people just out there, just go out there and say, "This is my product. Are you interested?" And it not doesn't work that way. That is the worst pitch you can say. And
That's true.
majority of the pitches, about the product or service are just like that. Hey, this is my product. This is what I do. This is what I have. Are you interested? Without even knowing on the other side what are the interests of the other person. Like asking a few questions to the other individual, doing a discovery before you even make that pitch.
100%. What to you is the perfect pitch?
I mean, the perfect pitch, I'll give you the definition of selling. Selling is getting people emotionally connected and intellectually engaged in a future result that's good for them. And then getting them to emotionally commit to take actions to achieve that future result. So that if you define your pitch within that framework, you can definitely build your ideal pitch, which is, emotional connection. How do you connect emotionally to people? They have feelings, they have fear, they have greed. Those are things that you want to connect with. The benefit. What is the most important benefit? How do you make the biggest difference? Intellectual engagement. Why? What does this product do for them? What do your service do for you? How does it, build in their left brain? How does it position that? Why would they commit to taking actions? All of these things you need to build in your pitch. Oh, your voice is gone.
You've pointed
Um,
out a lot of important principles. You've pointed out defining the ideal client, defining the dream experience. What's the most important thing? What's your advice to improve the client experience? Because I'll tell you, my observation of most business companies is they all do business the same way. I don't see a lot of uniqueness in the customer experience or a lot of color or texture. What's missing? Why it feels like everybody does everything the same way. You sign up, there's a contract, you get a payment link, you get some emails. It's boring. How can we jazz up the client experience?
So they can download the Process Innovator tool. They can scan the QR code. That is how you can build a dream come true experience. It's called the Process Innovator. And it's a tool that I have designed to help build that dream come true experience. I even have the entire during unit, step by step, how you can build it. And that's a great question, because one key thing that makes it a dream come true experience is the process. Most people have not defined what happens from beginning to end in your dream come true experience. How does it start? What happens in the very beginning? How does it move to the next stage? What happens in step number 3? What happens in step number 4? Why is it this the most effective way? How does the customer feel that this is a unique and different from everybody else in this step? You have to make it perfect for your customer. You don't have to necessarily make it perfect for you, but you have to make it perfect for your customer. And that is the tool that would help them do that. That is a great question, and they absolutely need to start there. And what people can start is also just think about 5 areas where you want to get the beginning right. I mean, if you think about the Olympics, we are in the Olympics right now, right? If you look at all the games and all the athletes, many of the athletes who begin right, they finish right, right? If you think about, there was yesterday I was watching, and the skater, who from Japan, he was the youngest one, and if you look at how he does it, and the amazing things that he does and the precision that he had, it all started with how he takes the beginning flip on the rail with his wheels on the edge of the whole rail, and then coming down with a perfect balance. Similarly, on gymnastics, Simone Wales, I think, the U.S. gymnast, she's amazing. And the way she does it, and she does like 4 or 5 midair flips and lands on her 2 feet, which is impossible and never done in history. And she was the first one to do it. But if you think about it, that comes with practice, and that comes with doing it step by step, right? Similarly, in business, we have to identify every single step and get it right. um, you know go to the link tree. There's so many tools and resources, free tools for people to get their beginning right and make it amazing. And that is the key. You have to deliver a dream come true experience that makes you unique.
Well, everybody, if you're having challenges delivering the dream come true experience or any of the components, finding your niche, finding your perfect customer, finding your perfect team. With respect to the team, offshore resources, independent contractors are very, very good. However, there's a lot of weather conditions that appear to affect their consistent attendance. Have you experienced that?
That can happen when you're working with teams overseas, and that can also happen when you have time gaps with working with team overseas. But again, the world is huge. There's not only one place where the weather is bad, there's other places the weather is good, and you're not tied into one person. So which is why I say always have backups, always have few people that you connected. Bill, instead of just making sure you're only working with one person, build relationships with 5. Okay, have 5 people that you say, hey, I like you. Whenever I have some work, I will reach out to you. Don't just say that to one, say to 5 people. That way
That's
you have
good advice.
that way you have backups. Hey, if one person is not available, I can always take my work and go to someone else and start, so that my work doesn't get stopped. And relationships make money. You don't have to necessarily transact and say, well, I'm not sure if I need this person right now, but he looks great. But you build that relationship and say, whenever I need you, I'll reach out to you. Is that okay with you? Where can I reach you? What's the quickest way to reach out? Everybody has a quick way of connecting, and you should ask them what is their favorite and most effective method of communication. And you'd be surprised, for everyone it's different.
Well, that's a phenomenal piece of advice, is to diversify and have plan Bs, have multiple people that you can rely on, so that if one breaks down, you always have a plan B. It's important to have a plan B. It really is. Even, if you're hosting a webcast or a podcast, you have your one guest, but you need to have a backup guest, because things happen in life where people cannot be available, or maybe they just wake up one day and they're not feeling well. We're all human. So you have to definitely have the backup experience. So with 30 seconds left in the show, I'm going to open it up for Q&A. If you ask Bimal a question, you can win a copy of his book. But in the meantime, go to his link tree, the 1 year breakthrough, where you can have lots of tools that you can use to really, really develop your business and take it to the next level. And so, Bimal, what's your number one law of business breakthrough today?
Define a definitive, deliverable, desirable, measurable, valuable result. In your business, make sure the result that you want to deliver to your customer is definitive, deliverable, desirable, measurable, and valuable. And if you can meet those 5 categories about what you do, you're on your way to swimming in the blue ocean, which is very unique and different from everyone else. And I'll give a quick example. It's like I help entrepreneurs achieve their 3-year business goal in 1 year and get grants to pay for it. So that's definitive, desirable, measurable, valuable result.
Well, that is amazing. Bimal Shah, host of the Laws of Business Breakthroughs and the CEO of Rajparth Achievers. Thank you for hosting us every single Monday. Join us every Monday and bring your questions, because when you ask a question, you win a copy of Bimal's book. I want to wish everybody a great day, and thanks for watching.
Make it a great day. Thank you, Blanca.
Thank you.
TGIM.